people of Taiwan love democracy, seek peace, and are keen to fulfill their responsibilities in the international community. We will continue to work with the U.S. and other like-minded countries to jointly defend the values of freedom and democracy.
I sign off on all foreign military sales, including weapons to Taiwan, and we will provide training to your military, not for war, but for peace.
A U.S. congressional delegation met with the president of Taiwan overnight.
This as China launched an additional 29 aircraft across the Taiwan Straits median line.
Our next guest is part of that delegation. Joins us now live from Taiwan. It's New York Congressman Mike Lawler. Congressman, great to have you with us this morning. You know, I think yesterday I had the opportunity to talk to Congressman McCall about the delegation you were a part of over in Taiwan, and it seems to be the motivation is deterrence. We want to let China know that if anything happens, they're going to be in for a serious, not just economic, but kinetic fight in Taiwan. And yet we've seen China sort of ramp up some activities in response to, it would appear, the U.S. presence there right now. Do you think what is happening right now is deterring China?
Well, look, that is a big part of why we went on this trip. You know, we went to Japan, South Korea, and now Taiwan. And deterrence is the key word. If you look at the Russian invasion of Ukraine, part of the things that we have learned from that is that Vladimir Putin clearly did not think there would be consequences from our NATO allies. He did not think there would be economic consequences. And part of what we are saying in coming to Taiwan, and Speaker McCarthy meeting with President Tsai in California just a few days ago, is that we support Taiwan. And we, along with our allies in the Indo-Pacific, are going to work together to do our level best to deter China from taking action. Nobody wants war. We want peace. But peace comes with the recognition that Taiwan needs to be treated as a country in its own right. And that is why we are here. That is why we met with President Tsai just a few hours ago. Overnight, New York time. And it was a very positive conversation, as has been the entire trip. You know, this has been a bipartisan delegation, Republicans and Democrats coming together, talking about how we work together with our allies economically, militarily, and from a national security perspective in the Indo-Pacific region.
Congressman, I also want peace, and I'm glad that there are congressmen working towards that. China obviously is not looking for peace. They're gearing up for war. In fact, so many of their own, commercial, corporations are now having to think about how they would transition. I mean, that's what the CCP has told them to do. Yet our companies and our country, in particular our companies like Walmart, for example, are doubling down and asking our government to deepen ties with China. They don't see China as this threat, that China sees us as a threat. How does all that play into how your discussions are going in Taiwan?
It's a great question. There is no question China is our greatest geopolitical foe. And that is why, as a Congress, we have taken steps to create a select committee on the competition between the Chinese Communist Party and the United States. And it is very much about economics. And I think what our companies in America need to understand is that China is not a friend and not an ally. They are doing everything they can to undermine us economically. They are doing everything they can when it comes to intellectual property rights to steal from our American companies. And so we need to be prepared to take them on economically. And part of that is strengthening ties with our allies in the Indo-Pacific region, specifically Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. Taiwan is our 8th largest trading partner. And if you look at international trade, 60% of trade comes through the Taiwan Strait. So we need to take this threat from China very seriously. We would have a major problem economically if China was to invade Taiwan, especially within the semiconductor industry. Is a big part of why we are seeking to move semiconductor production to the United States.
Well, listen, we have what's happening in Ukraine. Now we're looking at China. Let's hope that your efforts to deter not set up a war. I don't know that we have the manpower and resources to fight a war, much less two on two fronts. Let's hope that your efforts are successful and you all come from this trip deterring a potential war. Congressman Mike Lawler, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Thank you.